Hello guys, welcome to another weekly breakdown video. Today I'll be breaking down the second week of May, as you can see, starting from 13th of May 2024. So if I show you the news before starting the analysis, in the news you can see Monday there is no news, Tuesday there is PPI, US PPI, Wednesday there is CPI, Thursday there is unemployment claims, and Friday there is no news. So looking at that, so this was a midweek, as you can see, and there were news on some days and there were no news on some others, so we can look for trades. As you can see, the market has been doji for 2 weeks now. It has shown like it was rejecting this weekly supply zone, but the next candle closed as a doji. So whenever a weekly candle closes like this, it is very tricky to trade. And yeah, that I've learned through my backtesting only when I was trading this phase right here, the December, January and February phase, right, where the market was doing nothing but choppy. And those are the times where the price action is very bad, and this continuation trade is not valid because the fair value gap of the impulsive move was not mitigated. As we have seen, this was not a valid continuation setup. Okay, I will show you why I've written that. Sometimes when the bias is not clear, just don't trade. Wait patiently for the bias to be shown to you. You can't make something out of nothing. Not trading is also trading. Okay, so whenever the bias is not clear, you just don't trade, right? That's the best thing you can do for your trading account and for yourself. So whenever there is high impact news in both London and New York session, it's best to let the day play out, because when there is news both in London and New York, that is when it is very high chance to be manipulated. Both the zones have very high chance of getting manipulated, as you can see. So that was what I've written. So let me start from the weekly without wasting any time. So on on GU, we can clearly see the weekly bias was not clear. You can argue that this was lower lows, lower highs, and might be the market continue to the downside. Might be. Keyword might be. Might be is like we are predicting that it's gonna happen. We don't want to do that, right? We don't predict the market, we adapt. So the market is not shown as, if it has shown anything, it was some bullish momentum right here. Market went down and then came up again, giving us a bullish kind of candle closure. So this is a doji candle. So to confirm my bias, I always go to my DXY. So going on DXY, most of the times my bias gets clear, but this time even the DXY didn't clear my bias. As you can see, it was also a doji, so my weekly bias on DXY and GU was not clear, as I've written here. So whenever the bias is not clear on the weekly, what do? Correct, we trade the daily bias. So that is when I go to the daily time frame. And yeah, so this was the daily time frame. On the daily, the market was making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, higher highs, higher lows, and then the market was choppy. As you can see, this is clearly showing that the market was chopping around for some days now. For 2 weeks, the market did nothing, and whenever the market is doing nothing, it's best to stay away or only take. These are the times where you should be very selective and risk off. This is risk off environment in the market for me, and also you should be very selective with your trades in these kinds of markets. So going on Monday, my bias was literally not clear. It was not clear because look at this. Friday closed something like a bullish pin bar, and you can argue that the market can even go up to take this liquidity and also can go down to take this liquidity. There is a demand and supply. The price is now in between. We know that the market goes from a demand to a supply or a supply to a demand, right? So but right now the supply is here, the demand is here, the market is somewhere in between. So these are the times where we don't know where the market is headed. So why do you want to force something out of nothing? So I have to make the habit of just not trading some days, because that's the best thing you can do. Not trading is also trading. And yeah, capital preservation is very important. So Monday, bias was not clear, boom, waited for Monday to close. So just waiting for Monday to close, what did it do? Just waiting for Monday to close, it gave us our bias for Tuesday, didn't it? Clearly we can see on Tuesday. Now I will look for buys on on GU, and kinda okay. So even DXY was kind of bullish. This is very tricky, right? Even DXY and GU, they should do opposite sort of things, but right now they are doing same sort of things. As you can see, GU went down, the buyers dominated Monday, and even on GU, buyers dominated Monday. Even on EU, buyers dominated Monday. So Tuesday also was very tricky to trade, but I believe I took the trade on Tuesday. Let's see if I'm looking for buys. Obviously I will look for buys. The buys were not clear, and on Monday there was no news. Tuesday there was climate count change and PPI. So I have written one call out, right? Whenever there is high impact news on both New York and London, that is when I don't trade. Whenever there is high impact news on both New York and London, so I decided not to trade this day, as I will show you. And also the demand zone was not clear, and if I would try to trade any demand zone, that would be this one right here, the demand zone that I've marked right here. This is the H1 demand. Why the fuck is not focusing? So now is it okay? So if I would trade, I would trade this sort of demand right here. So this is the low that goes this higher high, so a pullback to this zone right here, and then a bullish move, anticipate a bullish move right from here. So was looking for something like that. The Asian range closed, obviously waiting for our setup. There was news, so obviously on GU and DXY both were news, so it was best to wait for Tuesday to close. Even if you don't get your setup throughout the whole week, doesn't matter, bro. The market doesn't owe you nothing. You have to adapt to the markets, not the markets. So yeah, going on Tuesday my bias was clear bullish, but we didn't got it, and there was also high impact news both on New York and London. So I decided not to trade, which played out in my favor, to be honest. And clearly we can see not trading on Tuesday gave us our bias for Wednesday again. So Wednesday I'm looking for buys, and yeah, Tuesday there was news, didn't trade it, right? So also now DXY is giving a bearish candle. Finally they are correlating. GU and DXY are correlating. Whenever they are not correlating, don't take the trade. So now going on Wednesday, I'm looking for buys again. So this is when I go to the lower time frames, like the 4 hourly, and look for some market structure shifts. You can argue the market is still trading between this low and this high, and whenever there is a weird high and low wick like this in the market, and the market is literally trending between those, that is the best time to wait. Or you can still trade those zones, but me personally, I don't prefer. I prefer that bad market condition, because obviously why is the market still in those zones? Because it is choppy. The market doesn't have enough momentum, right? So in my thinking, that was the case. So going on Wednesday, I was looking for buys. So if I was looking for buys in the 4 hourly, there was nothing. So that is when I go to the hourly, and on Wednesday there was CPI, I believe. Tuesday was PPI. Wednesday now there is CPI news, which is on 6 p.m. So obviously we can trade London. So I was looking for some trades on London, and yeah, let's see on what happened on Wednesday. So Wednesday the Asian range closed and was waiting for some sort of Asian low sweep, and there was also no sort of demand zone. This was a very tricky week to trade, to be honest. Whenever the market is recovering from a doji week or no momentum in the market to momentum, whenever the transaction is happening, most likely you will not get trades. So it is best to wait for that week to play out if it's doji, right? So also to Wednesday there was no trade opportunity for us, so we didn't do the trade. Wednesday there was CPI, so lots of buying pressure to the upside, and yeah, that is when waited for Wednesday to play out. So now going on Thursday, right? So Wednesday candle literally entered the daily supply zone that I've marked. This supply zone is valid due to this change of character right here, and this entered the supply zone on Wednesday. On Thursday now, we can either anticipate it to break out. Just by looking at this at the first glance, it's looking like it's not respecting it. It's looking like the next candle is gonna just pass through it, right? So that was one thing, and if it was showing me that it will reject this zone, then I could have looked for sales. So this was the daily supply zone, and yeah. So going on DXY, it was also aligning with our DXY bias being bearish, but DXY still had some room to go down, to go to this demand zone and then make the move. So GU, if I was looking for something on Thursday, it would be buys, obviously, but very, very low probability buys. And on Thursday, there was also no GU news. As you can see, only Thursday and Friday there is no GU news, and on Friday there is also no USD news. So according to news, this week was not bad, but according to the price action, it was not good, to be honest. So this is when I go to the 4 hourly. Finally this low and this sorry, this low and this high is broken. That means the market has finally catch a trend and now it's bullish, right? Whenever a significant high or low is broken after a huge amount of accumulation, or you can argue that accumulation of orders or manipulation happens, that is a very good sign that the market will continue towards that direction. So going on the 4 hourly, there was a break of structure to the upside, and this is when I go to the lower time frames like the hourly to see some demand zones to buy from. Fuck, it's hot. So waiting for Thursday to close, there was no hourly demand. As you can see, very tricky week to trade, and also very tricky price action right now. Yes, in the market there will be sometimes it will be tricky. It is what it is. Here I took this trade. Why? Let me show you. I literally had an intuition feeling that this trade is not gonna play out. Why? Because this M15 demand zone is so far away. First of all, our demand zone didn't get mitigated. There was so much of liquidity here in the form of equal lows, or also you can argue in the form of trend line liquidity right here. Why will the market or price will make a move from here when there is so much of liquidity so close to the zone? That was what I was thinking. So I would never take this trade. Even if this trade plays out without me, I would not take this trade in the live markets, because I believe in my strategy, and I've seen this happen a lot of times now, that yeah, this kind of trades tends to manipulate. So after the inducement, I was looking for some sort of entry from this demand zone. We didn't got it, as you can see. And what we do when we don't get an entry? Call it a day. It is what it is. The idea was overall not wrong. You can see the market, after a lot of inducement, after sweeping this equal lows, after sweeping this liquidity right here, what did it do? It literally made the move. It literally made the move that I was looking for, but not at our timing and not at our zone. So this was not a trade for us. So going on Friday now, this week was literally I didn't got any trades, and that's fine. That's totally fine, no problem. Going on Friday, Thursday candle closed as a bullish kind of candle. As you can see, market went down, buyers took the pressure. There is a fair value gap to the downside. Yes, I can see that, but I have to see confirmation that it wants to go and fill up, but there wasn't. And also on DXY, it was looking like this demand zone is getting respected as huge buying pressure came in from here. So next day we can anticipate to fill up this fair value gap. So keeping that in mind, if I was looking for something, it would be sells on GU on Friday, right? It would be sells on GU on Friday, and it was very tricky, as I am saying it again and again, because it was, bro. Genuinely it was. On the 4 hourly, there was no sort of change of character. I look for change of characters if my bias is changing, and on the hourly also there was no sort of change of characters. Highs, lows, higher highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and waited for the Asian range to close. After the Asian range closed, there was no sort of demand zone. Was there? No, sorry, supply zone. So obviously when there is no supply zone, how the hell am I gonna trade? So the move did happen, to be honest, but from this sort of demand zone, but I was looking for sells. The bias was not clear on DXY. DXY was going up, even GU was going up, so it was very tricky on Friday. So yep, this is one of them weeks where the strategy just didn't play out, because look, no strategy is 100% win rate. Every strategy has its best moments and bad moments, so we have to adapt to it. And yeah, market conditions and volatility changes according to the win rate of your strategy. So does the win rate of your strategy. If the market is not giving the move, then how can your strategy play out, right? So yeah, that was the weekly breakdown for you guys. But now going on the next week, it's gonna be interesting to trade, because you can see here the market was chopping around, but now it has finally caught a trend bullish. So next week, the trades that are aligning with the bias being bullish will be higher probability, and will be fun to trade. I will show you the next week also, so stay tuned, and hope you guys learn from this, take something out from this video. And yeah, not every week is a trading week, as I've shown you guys. I'm being as transparent as I can, and showing you the truth of trading.